Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Worth Unlimited Opportunity Call. We're so excited to be with you tonight. For those of you that are brand new on the call tonight, we think that we will have some information that we can safely say you have most likely never seen before. Some concepts and some ideas that may be absolutely brand new to you before this call. And for those of you that have been with us before, we want to welcome you back. We have got some really fast-moving information to go through tonight simply because we do not have a lot of time. The call will run roughly about probably 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that. But we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Listen, my name is Skylar Whitman. I'm one of the co-founders of Worth Unlimited. And basically what we want to make sure everyone that is dealing with Worth Unlimited understands is that we are on a crusade to basically, for lack of a better term, we are launching the greatest assault on debt that this country has ever seen. And when we say that, it may sound like a bold statement, but when you see what we have to show you just tonight, we feel like you will be able to gain a little bit better understanding as to why our mission is to claim that we're launching the largest assault on debt this country has ever seen. And it's not just something that we are thinking about doing, it's something that we have absolutely started on and have seen tremendous progress by those who are using the services that Worth Unlimited provides. Tonight, we have the privilege of hearing from one of our top trainers and presenters, Miss Sarah Wilkins, and she has gone through and put a tremendous amount of time, energy, and effort into helping consumers and agents alike to be able to see the benefits of what we call the Worth account and all of the services provided by Worth Unlimited. And so what I would like to do now is I would like to go ahead and welcome and introduce Ms. Sarah Wilkins and go ahead and turn the call over to her. Sarah, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Skylar. I appreciate the opportunity to be sharing the company and the program with everybody tonight. Good evening, everyone. Like Skylar mentioned, my name is Sarah Wilkins. I'm an account coach with Worth Unlimited. And folks, if you're on this call and it's your first time looking at our company and our product, I'm going to take about 20 to 25 minutes to go over what we believe is the most incredible financial tool on the market today. And the best way to describe what our program does is by comparing it to a GPS navigation system for your car. And I'm sure most of you on the phone tonight are familiar with how a GPS navigation system works. You get in the car, you type in the address of where you want to go, and then that navigation system maps out the fastest way to get to that destination. And if along the way you happen to miss a turn or you take a wrong exit, what does that navigation system do for you? It recalculates, reconfigures, and gets you back on track. So this is a tool that does the same thing, but financially. So it looks at every aspect of your financial situation today and then calculates mathematically your fastest way out of debt. And if along the way you happen to make a wrong turn financially, so to speak, the program's going to reconfigure and recalculate to get you back on track. So, a lot of times we'll hear some people say, well, what's the difference between using this tool and just setting myself up on a budget? And folks, it's about the same as saying what's the difference between using a paper map and a GPS system in your car. Again, the GPS is constantly calculating every turn, and that's what our program does. It calculates and reconfigures with every financial transaction you make. So our average client saves about 20 years of payments on their 30-year mortgage, and oftentimes up to, close to $100,000 of scheduled interest on their debt. So that's the product, the program that we're going to talk about. And like I said, I'm going to spend a significant amount of time going through how the product works. The market that we are after, our target market, folks, I can't think of a better time for this program to get out there. There's probably never been a time in our country when this program has been more needed. This program is, and this product is for anyone who has debt. And we're not just talking about mortgages. We're talking about all debts, credit cards, car loans, student loans, business debt, multiple mortgages, and so on. So you're gonna see that this program is pretty much for anyone and everybody. So our method of distribution, you guys, people get so excited about the way we distribute this program because there's no selling involved. It's a true referral distribution model, and I'm going to show you how that works here in just a little bit. We also have a lucrative income stream that goes along with this. So for those of you that are on the call tonight looking at the business opportunity, we're going to talk about that as we get towards the end, but first things first, I want to make sure you understand the program and the product that we're marketing. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background on the company and kind of how we got to the point that we're at today, because I think it's important that people understand we actually started out as a mortgage company. Back in the late 90s, we opened our doors, and we were one of Utah's fastest growing mortgage companies in our first 3 years, but we were seeing some problems. And the problem was we were making our money by refinancing loans. And we were seeing the same clients every few years, seeing a lot of repeat customers. Now, in most industries, repeat customers, it's a good thing. But in the mortgage industry, when you're refinancing the same people every few years, you're really not putting them in a better financial situation because you're putting them back in a 30-year debt. And it's almost like our clients were just in this hamster wheel where they were just doing everything they could to pay their mortgage down, but no matter what they did, it seemed like every few years they had to they either had to refinance to pull some equity out so they could pay off other debts, or they needed to refinance so they could have a lower payment so that they could manage other debts. But bottom line, we started to realize there was a significance and a problem with debt nationwide. And we started looking for, the owners of this company started looking for a solution, a way to help people get out of debt instead of being a part of putting them into debt. So we started looking for different concepts and strategies, and they came across a concept that was being used out in Australia. And the concept was people would pull the equity out of their homes and then use that equity to pay down their mortgage. So the first version of this program that came out in 2004 used that concept and strategy. It was a matter of using the equity of your home to pay down your mortgage. Now, over the years, the program has evolved, and you're going to see that as we go further along in this presentation. But initially, when we started out, our clients were using a home equity line and paying their mortgage down. And if you were in a 30-year loan, the average client was on track to have that mortgage paid off in about 8 to 10 years. So we did a test market. We took about 400 homeowners, put them on the program. Folks, after 18 months, our average client was already 20% ahead of their original projected payoff. And the reason for that is because this program starts to instill almost a subconscious discipline in you. When you start to see the impact of the financial decisions that you're making, you start to think a little bit different about how you're using your money. And when you can see exactly when you're going to be debt-free, you start to do everything you can to speed that up and get there faster. And that's what this program allows you to do. So we have grown from those 400 homeowners in Denver, Colorado, to currently helping over 70,000 clients use the Worth account to become debt-free. Folks, we've been written up in all sorts of different real estate and mortgage publications. In 2008, our owners were awarded the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for this product. And I'm sure most of you know who Ernst & Young is, the largest financial service firm. Folks, they don't take this award lightly. This is something where they're going to come in and do extensive due diligence. So they threw all sorts of different financial scenarios at the program. They tested our customer support. They interviewed past customers. So this award is something we're extremely proud of and just shows, not only how great the program is, but how great the company that stands behind it is. So enough bragging, though. Let's get into how the program actually works. So there's several strategies of this Worth account. The most important strategy, though, is strategically paying off all of your debt. Okay, but it also focuses on accelerated mortgage payoff, making sure you pay the absolute least amount of interest on your debts, getting you completely debt-free in the shortest amount of time, helping you maximize your retirement savings. And then obviously we don't just provide you with a program and wish you the best. We also provide ongoing coaching and support so that you know how to maximize your system. And the program is customized to the client's needs. So that ongoing, or that coaching and support is ongoing. And then on top of all of the great strategies of the actual account, there's also an opportunity to generate some additional income. And we're going to talk about that here at the end. But in order for you to really understand the power of this program, it's important that you have a little bit of mortgage knowledge. So we're going to go through some mortgage basics here. And I'm going to run through an amortization schedule for a $200,000 loan at 6%. Now, the whole point of this slide is to show you guys how the bank applies our payment on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so let's say we have a $200,000 loan, 6% interest rate, 30-year term. The payment on that loan is $1199.10. Month number one, we're going to make our first payment. $1,000 is going towards interest. Only $199.10 is being applied to the principal balance. Okay, month number two, our principal contribution is increasing by a whopping $1. We've got $200.10 from our payment being applied to principal. $999 is going towards interest. 1 year into the loan, we will have paid in over $14,000, and less than $2,500 of that is going to be applied to the principal balance. 5 years into the loan, we'll have paid in over $70,000, and we've got less than $14,000 being applied to the principal. Folks, the reason we point out year 5 is because this is typically where people are refinancing. There's statistics out there. They say the average American refinances about every 3 to 5 years. So you can see why this was a problem for our company when people kept coming in and refinancing. Because not only were they hitting the reset button and going back to the beginning of their loan where they're just not making any headway, but they're also losing tens of thousands of dollars. Because we've paid in over $70,000 and we've got less than $14,000 being applied to the principal. So we basically lost $58,000 if we were to refinance this loan after 5 years. Okay, 10 years into the loan, we'll have paid in over $140,000. We've got less than $35,000 of that being applied to the principal balance. It's not until the 21st year in the loan that we actually have the principal paid down almost halfway. And that comes after paying in more than 1.5 times what we originally borrowed. So if we were to take this loan full term and pay the bank the $1199.10 over the 30 years, we would pay back a total of $431,677. Folks, that's more than double the original loan amount. Now, you have to understand, I do this presentation on a daily basis, and every time almost every time I show this slide, people say, I can't believe the banks get away with this, and there's a lot of gasping involved. The whole point of this program, the main goal of this program, is to cut this number in at least 1/2. We want to put a half to a third of that back in to the homeowner's pocket. Okay, so let me show you the system that our program uses. Let's just take a hypothetical example here, and let's just say we've got an extra $5,000 that we can use towards our principal. So in our first month, we're going to make our regular $1199 payment, and then we're going to add $5,000 to go towards the principal. So month number one, we're paying in a total of $6,199. I'm going to show you the impact that that's going to have on this $200,000 loan. So our statement will come the next month, and it'll show that we've knocked $5,000 off our principal. So our principal balance is down to $195. Now, if we make an extra principal payment, will our interest rate and our payment change? Absolutely not. Our interest rate is going to stay the same, and our payment is going to stay the same. However, we were going to be in that loan for 360 months. We're now going to be paid off in 337. So that one $5,000 principal payment just eliminated 23 payments off the back end of the loan. The original interest we were going to pay was $231,677. Folks, the new interest, $203,373. So if we Subtract the $5,000 back out, we've got a net interest cancellation of $23,304. Okay, bottom line, if we add $5,000 to a $200,000 loan at 6%, we canceled 23 house payments and $23,000 in scheduled interest immediately, guaranteed. Now looking at this, obviously this looks great on paper, but what do you think the problem most people have with this scenario in real life? That $5,000. Who's got an extra $5,000 laying around? And if we did have an extra $5,000 laying around, we're probably not making extra mortgage payments with it. Okay, so this is not the worth account, but this is the system that the program uses. So what I wanted to show you here was I just wanted to show you the impact that a lump sum payment can have not only on the time we end up paying on the loan, but also the amount of interest. Folks, I want you to keep this example in the back of your mind. I'm going to refer back to it here in just a little bit. Now, let me tell you kind of how the program works here. In order for to use this software program, it used to require a home equity line of credit. Okay, remember I told you when we first came out with the program, our clients were getting a home equity, they were pulling the equity out of their home and then using that equity to pay down the mortgage. Well, this was back in 2004, 2005, 2006, where if you could fog a mirror, you could get a home equity line, right? But over the years, obviously it got harder and harder for people to pull equity out of their homes, so we had to evolve. So we created a new version of the program that worked really with any line of credit. So you no longer needed a home equity line. You could use a personal line of credit, commercial line of credit, secured line of credit, or even a credit card. Okay, but nowadays, it's hard just to get any line. It's hard to just get approved for a credit card. So the newest version of the software and the program that I'm going to show you today works with just a checking and a savings account. You no longer need a line of credit to use this program. And I'll tell you, about 95% of our clients are using the program today with just a checking and a savings. Now, it's going to be difficult for you to understand all of the ins and outs of this program after a 30-minute presentation. So I don't expect you to understand everything. But one thing I do want you to walk away from this with, though, is an understanding of the concept that the program uses. So the easiest way for me to illustrate that concept is by showing you an example of how the program works with an equity line of credit being used in that example. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm clear here. You do not need a line of credit for this program to work. But for sake of example, because it's easier to illustrate, I'm going to go through an example using the equity line of credit, in the example. But you do not need a line of credit for the program to work. It works with just a checking and a savings. So once you understand the concept and you're wrapping your head around how it works and how the concept works, then I'll show you the savings account. But for sake of example, just because it's easier, we're going to use a line of credit initially. So we're going to keep that $200,000 mortgage, and now we're going to add a line of credit. Okay, remember this mortgage has a 6% interest rate attached to it. Now, this line of credit actually has a 10% interest rate attached to it. The first thing I need you to understand about this line of credit is how we use it. Because the program is going to have us use the credit line as if it were our primary checking account. Meaning all of our bills and all of our expenses are going to be paid with the credit line. So our mortgage, our gas, our groceries, our cell phone bill, everything gets paid with the line of credit. So as we do that, the balance on the line of credit is obviously going to go up. But then as soon as we get paid, the program's going to tell us to move our income from our checking account over to the line of credit so that we drive the balance down. Every time the software sees that the balance on the line of credit is getting close to zero, it's going to tell us to make what's called a funds transfer. And a funds transfer means we're going to borrow money from the line of credit and make a lump sum principal payment to the first mortgage. Okay, so in our example, we're going to show that we're making a $5,000 funds transfer. So if we take $5,000 from the line of credit and we move it over to that $200,000 mortgage, you guys remember what that did, right? Canceled $23,000 of scheduled interest and 23 house payments. But now we've just created another debt. So we've got a $5,000 debt over here. And this debt is sitting at 10%. So how do we get that debt paid down? When we get paid, our income goes back into the line of credit, and we drive the balance back down so that we pay minimal interest. Now, obviously, we're not going to have the same amount going out and coming in every month. So it's going to take a few months to get the line of credit paid down, but every time it gets close to zero, the software is going to tell us to make one of those funds transfer. A few months, we're making those lump sum payments to the principal balance of the mortgage, which means every few months we're canceling time and interest off the back end of the loan.